What is good, everybody? SaberWolf94, sets from past formats once again, and this time we're going all the way to the beginning of it all. The first set, Diamond and Pearl base set, whatever you want to call it. This is the first set. Now, before I say anything else about the cards and what was good and what wasn't, I want to tell you guys that there's no other set quite like this when it comes to the art. Like, it kind of set the standard for, the whole exotic, uh, majestic kind of art style that is in a lot of the DP sets, Stormfront, Majestic Dawn, Great Encounters, all that, uh, Secret Wonders, uh, all of the DP sets. But there's really nothing quite like this when it comes to the rare hollows. I'll have a link in the description of a Diamond Pearl booster box that I've opened so you can see for yourself, or just look at from somebody else if you don't want to. But um, the Diamond and Pearl holo cards in this, like any holo you pull, is just absolutely beautiful. Like there's nothing, there's no cards quite like them, to be honest. The way that like the holographic technology is on the cards is really something. Like you have to see it for yourself. Uh, any card that you pull is absolutely beautiful. Um, Maybe it's just me, but I don't think so. I've opened enough boxes and packs from these sets to know that it's really, they're so beautiful, so exotic, amazing. All right, so besides this thing that really was cool, Diamond and Pearl was the first fourth generation set, obviously, and it brought a lot of shit that was actually quite significant, that really made a big impact and changed a lot of shit that other generations don't really compare. Uh, well, most of them. So for starters, they made darkness energy and metal energy basic. Before, in third generation and the second generation, when they were released, you could only play 4 in each deck. There was special dark energy and special metal energy. And if you ask me, that was kind of a mistake, especially when the third generation came. One of the big flaws, I'd say, from that is that they should have made these energies basic, but it didn't happen. But it happened in fourth generation. Diamond and Pearl set, you could play as many metal and darkness energies, and this way you can properly play uh, metal decks and metal Pokemon and darkness Pokemon. Now, thing is, in third generation we had like a billion special energies anyway, so like there's a billion variants of Rainbow's energy and other energies, so I guess it didn't matter that much, but uh, it's good that they were basic finally. The other big thing were the level X's, the original EX mechanic of Pokemon EX Extra, that's what it stands for, that were kind of stronger but gave 2 prizes. Uh, it finished in EX Power Keepers, and with Diamond and Pearl, we had level X's, and we're going to look at them right now. The level X's basically was like a sort of extra evolution, you could say. You couldn't play them the turn you evolved to your, you know, uh, that stage that you were going to level up. So for example, if you evolved into Torterra this turn, you couldn't play Torterra level X. But next turn, you could level up and evolve them, kind of, like a regular evolution. And these cards basically had more HP, possibly had a ×2 weakness, or maybe they kept the original weakness. In the beginning, I think they kind of kept it, but then it kind of became ×2 for everybody. And they had better attacks or just some cool tricks, stronger attacks. Not necessarily always. Look at something like Honchkrow, for example, but they were supposed to be like the 100% power of the card, like level X It was supposed to be like the level 100 sort of thing, and that was the whole point. And the other thing is that they could use level up Pokemon, any attacks, Pokepowers, Pokebodies from its previous level. So that was cool. This is why you see some level X cards like only have maybe powers or Pokebodies, or just only have one attack or just one thing they do. It's because it's like a level up, an add-on card, much like the breaks. Basically, breaks are like the rip-off version of level X's, done in a kind of worse way, I guess. The only cool thing about breaks is that since the card is like uh, horizontal, I think that's the right word, yeah. Uh, it kind of shows the stats and the other things the regular evolution does. So that's kind of cool. Well, level X's, you kind of had to remove the card and reveal and do shit like this, but they were really something. Uh, Later on, cards like Luxray level X, Garchomp level X, and just a million types of level X Pokemon really were like the top Pokemon, the kings, and uh, the best decks resolved around a lot of these cards. So let's look at Torterra now that I've put him on. So has 160 HP. It was an upgrade from 20 HP that this Torterra, the Stage 2 Torterra, had in this set. And if you had more prize cards in your opponent, basically he could do Bright Look. It was Luxray's ability. You can Pokemon Catcher, Gust of Wind, whatever you want to call it, one of your opponent's Pokemon. Of course, you had to have more prizes. And the attack, Vigorous Dash, did 100 to your opponent and 30 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So 130 total for 4 energy. That was quite high. But Torterra did 30 damage to itself. But it was very good. This was a very good attack. And Torterra level X actually saw it play um, there was a Torterra Flygon level X deck. And that was cool. That won Germany's, I think, nationals. I'm not sure, but yeah, you would also use Torterra level X in the Unleashed Torterra. When you would use Unleashed Torterra, you would slap an expert bell on that thing and do Giga Drain shit, and you would do 60 damage and heal 60 damage, and it became a powerful tank you couldn't knock out unless you use a strong fire Pokemon like Blaziken. But yeah, cool. The other two guys, Empoleon level X. I think this guy was kind of a thing in the beginning. Hydro Impact basically did 80 damage, snipe. Empoleon couldn't attack next turn. That wasn't that cool, but not exactly sure if there were ways around this. I'm not really the expert in such early times, but I know some stuff. And he had a very cool power though. Once during your turn, you could choose up to 2 cards in your opponent's hand without looking at them and kind of put them face down, sort of remove them from the game, and were not in play and not in your opponent's hand. And then next turn, your opponent got them back. And you do this all the time. It's kind of like you get rid of resources from their hand for no reason. So that was powerful. So you would use this for the upgrade. It was only a 10 HP upgrade for Empoleon. But to be honest, Empoleon was the strongest Stage 2 starter from this set anyway. You guys will see. I'm going to talk about it. But this was a cool card as well. And then Infernape, this guy was like showing us that power creep was going to happen. 2 for 150. And, well, it had a hefty cost. You couldn't do this easily. You need to search your discard off of 8 fire energy and shuffle them to your deck. If you didn't, they didn't do anything. But of course, there were probably ways to put them in the discard pile, do all sorts of shit, and he did a lot of damage. He had free retreat. The HP wasn't that great, but the Infernape in this set only has 100 HP, so it was a 20 HP upgrade. Later on, there were Infernapes with 110 and 120 HP, I believe, so not that big of an upgrade. But, this attack was crazy. If you could pull it off 150, you knocked out whatever the hell you wanted, basically. And its power, is once during your turn, you could look at the 3 top cards of your deck, choose one of them and put it into your hand, discard the other 2. This is actually quite good. You could do this every turn. Obviously, there's some synergy as you gonna try and get rid of fire energies, but the thing is, you just grab something uh, anyway, no matter what. So that's tough. That's good. Not tough. It's like you draw a card. Now, ditching shit sucks, but you hoped you were gonna discard fire energy, I'm pretty sure, with this. So that's level X's. There were 3 in this set. You would probably get 1 per box, I'm pretty sure, or 1 every 2 boxes. I think that's what it was. For Secret Wonders, I think they were this round, and Mysterious Treasures, perhaps. But for this set, I think you got 1 per box, or maybe none per box. But yeah, not super familiar with the ratios once again, but they were quite rare. In future boxes, like after I think, I believe it was maybe Majestic Dawn or Legends Awakened, I'm not sure, you would get a couple of level X's per box. I think it was during the SP times where you could get like a lot of them, like 5 and shit. 4 maybe, not 5. But yeah. So let's look at some of the best Pokemon in this set. We got the basic Legends, Dialga and Palkia. Now these were not really on the level of when Reshiram and Zekrom came out, when they were like big ass, crazy basic big Pokemon, 130 HP and shit, and had crazy attacks. But they were decent, these guys. 90 HP and what have you. That was good. And had a useful 1 energy attack. Dialga does 10 damage and lets you draw a card. And that was cool because most of the time when you get this sort of effects, you wouldn't like be able to draw a card and do damage too. And his attack is basically you return all energies, and he acts like an Espeon from Breakpoint. Remove the highest stage evolution, shuffle into the deck. And Palkia, 90 HP as well. You do 10 damage and you search for a stadium card. You could also ditch a stadium card if it was around. And his attack is also kind of you flip a coin, if heads, discard all energy to Palkia, and you put the defending Pokemon on all cards attached to the top of your opponent's deck, and then they shuffle the deck. Decent, but the big guys, of course, in this set were the Stage 2 Pokemon. Now I'm going to start with, in my opinion, what was the strongest dude. Dusknoir. Yes, this was a Stage 2 tech that maybe you would use because of Rare Candy and Broken Time Space. They were so easy. You could use a Stage 2 like tech lines. But this Dusknoir had 120 HP, quite solid. Good resistance to colorless. But he had a very powerful power and attack. Dark Palm. If your opponent had 4 or more bench Pokemon, you choose one of them and shuffle it in all cards into the deck. There was a lot of tricks you could do this. It showed up in some of I think it was a top deck, winning deck. I don't remember, that used this. Was running Kindra, I think. I'm not sure, but it was very special. It was a strong card, and his attack was very good too. You put 5 damage counters to the defending Pokemon, and then for each prize your opponent had taken, you put more. So if they took just like 3 prizes, you were doing 80 damage, and that's quite hot for back then. Doing 80 for 3 and shit, even 70 for 3 and stuff. It was quite hot, honestly. So this is the best Stage 2 Pokemon in this set, if you ask me. But some people might say Empoleon was the best. This guy is very good. At 130 HP, the standard was up from 120 to 130. Ice Blade, Did 240 and it was a snipe. And Aqua Jet could do 70 damage, and if you flip heads, it did 20 to an opponent's bench Pokemon, so 90 damage total. So that was hot. Then we got Infernape. Not a lot of HP, but has free retreat. This is like the fast dude. You did 2 for 90. You discard all fire energy. But, this was very strong and very, like, raw power for back then. Coming from EX Power Keepers, doing 90 for 2. It was some heavy shit. And synergy with a level X too. And Torterra, where is Torterra? Where are you, Torterra? This guy wasn't as hot. He had 140 HP, which that was very good. But yeah, you could remove 2 damage counters from each grass Pokemon. 60 damage. Wasn't that amazing, but I think the level X, Torterra level X is the best level X out of the 3. Okay. But yeah, honestly, just from the scans of these cards, you can tell like they must be beautiful. But seriously, look at some like actual photos or videos, high quality videos of these cards if you don't have them yourself, and you'll see that they're beautiful rare holo cards. Lucaria, this was a cool stage 1 Pokemon, did 1 for 30, not affected by resistance, and 2 for 60 total if you count the bench damage. That was kind of cool. We didn't have good shit like this back then. It was fast enough, and then later on, the next set, Lucario level X was quite strong too. It was cool. They made a great combo. But yeah, another good card from this set. Magnezone, this is quite good. There were other Magnezones that came out later. They're probably better than this one, but this one has some cool tricks. If you had any metal energy to your active Pokemon, that Pokemon had free retreat. So you could do some cool free retreat combo shits with this. It didn't only work for himself, like any metal Pokemon that was active and had metal energy and free retreat. And his attack is actually quite good for the time. It did 50, but for each metal energy, did 10 more. So you would do 80 for 3, basically. If I'm not mistaken, that's how it seems. And I read some of these cards before to remember a little bit because this set is quite old and it's not really one of the sets that was relevant forever, like let's say Stormfront and the SP sets when they came out. But it does have some cool shit. We got Manaphy. Basically grabs basic Pokemon. That's what I remember. This Magius. This card is very beautiful as well, if you look at this. Psywave is actually one of those, energy, as many energies each Pokemon has attacks. It costs 3 energy, but, if your opponent had a lot of energies on, it would add up. I mean, for 2 energies, it would do like 70 damage, and then 3 becomes 90. Not bad, not bad for the time. And we have Rhyperior. This guy was kind of a thing later on when the level X came out. Discarding cards from the top of your opponent's deck. That was rough. Rock Wrecker isn't the greatest attack in the world, but there were things he did with the level X. And we got Shiftry. This Pokemon is quite something. Basically, his power is every turn you can flip a coin if he's active, and if heads, you remove the highest stage evolution from your opponent. That's quite something. And his attack could also do, on average would do 70 damage, and if you flipped 2 heads, it would do 90. Cool, cool. We got Staraptor. This Pokemon wasn't great, but I'm just going to talk about it because it's crazy. Braveheart, 100 for 4. You're thinking, wow, that's hot. But you flip a coin of tails, it did 100 damage to itself too. That's crazy. It was too crazy if you ask me. They didn't have to make it this much. But oh well, very cool holographic art as well. And Gengar is also here. It's too bad this card was so outclassed with the other DP Gengars, but uh, he is Shadow Dance is similar to what the Arceus hit and switch Gengar did. You put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like, then switch Gengar to one of your bench Pokemon. So realistically, you can also use this guy instead of the Arceus Gengar, but you're going to put less damage on. Now, you can actually put the damage in any way you like. It doesn't do like actual damage, but this way Unknown G blocks you. And his first attack is kind of crazy. You flip a coin of heads, you put damage counters on the defending Pokemon until it's 10 HP away from being knocked out. So yeah, that was some crazy shit. But he doesn't have free retreat, and 110 HP. Wasn't bad, it just wasn't great later on when the other Gengars came out. Machamp, I remember this guy. This guy has a revenge sort of shit. He would do 70 damage if any of your Pokemon were knocked out the previous turn. And Metachamp, this Pokemon also did some hot damage for 3 energy, 80. And Force Palm, the more damage counters you had on, you put that many on the defending Pokemon. So when DP came out from EX Power Keepers from the EX era, a lot of shit was hot in here. So we got Weavile, search your deck for any card, and Dark Pulse is basically like the Breakpoint Darkrai EX's attack. The more darkness synergy you have to everybody, it's going to do more damage. Times 10. Okay, now let's look at some of the trainers. I guess Haunter too. This guy had Free Retreat, so maybe you would use him in your Stage 2 Gengar decks. He was one of the good choices. But there's the unknowns here. Another rule that changed. Every unknown had an actual name on it. So like unknown A, you could play like 4 unknown A's and 4 unknown B's if you wanted to. For example, it was stuff like this. Before, all unknowns were considered to be the same card. Okay, so let me see. Oh, another thing that really was a first for Diamond and Pearl. This was the first set to bring the concept of you could attack for no energy. Like you look at Piplup here, you can attack for no energy. Now this went away in the 5th generation when Black and White came out, and then it was brought back in 7th generation. Now with Sun and Moon, you guys know this shit. Some of the trainers in this set are kind of cool. We got Knight Pokemon Center. Basically, high risk, high reward card. But if you flip 2 heads, it's a max potion and you don't discard the energy. But we had the original Pokedex here. This was a nice little draw card. You look at the 2 top cards and you grab one, put the other at the bottom. You could use this in speed decks, a bunch of these cards, Pokedex and Pokedraw pluses, if you wanted a fast deck like that. And we got Professor Rowan and Rival. Not the greatest supporters, but they were kind of good. Not good, solid, I guess, in the beginning. Got Warpoint, Super Scoop Up. And yeah, I can't really think of anything else to talk about this set. It's very beautiful, like I've said. The holographic cards are fucking beautiful. Had a bunch of good attackers for the time: Empoleon, Dusknoir, Infernape, Lucario. And some of the cards, they were used later on as well. But this was the first set, so yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys leave a like, share this with your friends. I'm not sure what set I'm gonna do next, but I really like making these videos talking about these cool DP sets. Maybe you guys can tell me if you comment on. Maybe I'll do what you want next. But yeah, this was Diamond and Pearl. Very beautiful, very cool. Share this with your friends so they can learn about this old school shit. I can't believe that DP sets are now old school shit. It's crazy. Pokemon has been going on for so long. Like that these sets, like to me, they're kind of like I don't know, like they don't feel this old, but they are quite old. It's crazy. Anyways, guys, Saberwolf 9 War. What's up?